right here, we on chapter 6. The African American church is historically a conservative institution. It has long resisted the liberal movement campaign to normalize homosexuality in all aspects of human endeavors. It is not the black church rejection of homosexuality, but it is more so the church adherence to the word of God that is the cause of it staunchly conservative stance on the question of same-sex marriage. The Bible condemns homosexuality in no uncertain terms. There is no way around that. Christians simply cannot profess Christianity in belief in the word of God and at the same time embrace something which God himself condemns. According to the Bible, the act can be condemned without condemning the person who commits the act. The reverse is also true. People, Christians and non-Christians alike, should not be condemned as bigots, homophobic, and intolerant simply because they are not on the correct side of the issue, according to their faith and their personal moral compass either. If Christians take direction from the Bible, then it is the Bible that people who denounce Republican and others as crazed homophobic wig nuts, because it is the Bible's position that it is being exposed. Christian apologists for homosexuality often says, "He who is without sin cast the first stone," in an attempt to justify their acceptance of homosexuality. In this case, I certainly would cast the first stone because I am free of the particular sin. They followed that up with the argument that we should not judge others. That is correct. But there is a caveat to that statement. We should not judge others according to our own finite knowledge and wisdom, but we can and must be judged by the wisdom of God, the Bible. As long as the Bible is the yardstick by which we judge, then our judgment is correct. Former President Obama's stance on the question of homosexuality marriage was that he believed that marriage should be between a man and a woman. During the run-up to his second term as president, he flip-flopped his position on the issue. His new position was that he was evolving on the issue and that people should have the right to love who they want to love. That was a nice bit of political maneuver on the former president part. As we all know also that Walt Disney World, Bob Iger, the owner of Walt Disney, he has ABC, he has all the football, NFL, basketball, he's entwined with all that, and he helped promote that issue and put money behind Obama, but he changed his stance. Going from saying that marriage should be between a man and a woman to saying that people should have the right to love who they want to love was an attempt on Obama's part to replicate his base, obfuscate and deflect the issue from what the real question is. Saying that marriage should be between a man and a woman is, by definition, a rejection of homosexuality, because same-sex marriage is, by definition, another way of saying homosexuality. The Democrats intentionally inject emotions into the issue by using these abstract, emotionally laden words such as right and love. Words that require a voluminous encyclopedia to explain all the different shades of meaning of the words love and right. Obama could not use two more powerful words to muddy the waters on the issue of same-sex marriage. We do not want anyone infringing upon our rights. We love our spouse and significant others, and we would be horrified if anyone attempted to regulate by law, who we could love, under what circumstances we could love that person. But that is exactly what the LGBTQ community was asking Obama and the Supreme Court to do. And he and the High Court acquitted out of political expediency. This is really a need to clarify the Republican position on this issue and expose the Democratic sickenary. The issue is not whether a person should have the right to love who they want to love. That is a God-given right. No Republican in his right mind would suggest otherwise. The question is, does the federal government have the right to compel states to adopt the president's personal stance on marriage and impose it on issues that are clearly within the purview of the state? That answer is a resounding no. The state legislators decide what prerequisites and rigorous that a couple seeking a marriage license must meet in order to receive the license. The question is about state rights in the government overreach and usurpation of the sovereigns of the states to decide those issues without federal government interference. No one says that same-sex marriage compels couples cannot live together as married couples and enjoy the same rights that other traditional married couples share. In all 50 states, the law was that marriage was between man and woman. That was the understanding and interpretation of state administrative laws and policy regarding the issue of marriage license. The Republican fight was about state rights. It was about the concept of federalism. It was about respecting the Constitution. A personal stance on homosexuality was that, his or her personal opinion. The abortion issue about state rights, the Republican pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment stance about state rights and the Constitution, yes. Even slavery was about state rights to choose when it came to the issue of commerce and personal property and how to regulate the economic policy over the issue of slavery. The government sought to prevent and prohibit something that the founding fathers allowed. The Southern economy during slavery was an agriculture economy based on slavery. No one is arguing the evils of slavery and that ending slavery was the right thing to do. However, the government to end slavery the way that they did when these states has been dependent on slave labor for over a century was an untenable situation for the states. And because of that, slave-holding states succeeded from the Union, which precipitated the Civil War. I don't agree with that either. I'm pro-union, but I understand the issue. Perhaps there should have been a gradual ending of slavery, which would have given those states time to better prepare for the inevitable and end to slavery. I do know what the proper course of action should have been, but I can look at the issue analytically and come to a conclusion without all of the emotional baggage that gets dragged into discussion over race and slavery. Black people would get upset and become unhinged and emotionally irate because of simply stated a fact. The Civil War was about states' rights, and slavery was one of the many components of the issue. I was never a slave. I was born free. I'm a proud American, and I'm proud of that. I could talk about Rome and Greek civilization. I could talk about history of Egypt and its glorious past. I could talk about Shaka Zulu and his valiant struggle against the British Crown, all without getting emotional. History should be studied analytically, sans emotion. If we are to learn valuable lessons from it, I don't have time to be running around in 2025 hating white people and telling them to change their skin color. I don't feel like I would get nowhere for what happened in 1818. I wasn't there, and neither were they. White people aren't running around still upset at the British for what happened during the Revolutionary War. They got over it, and we need to get over it too. I look upon it as Africa sold us. There's not one book in Africa that says we're going to get our people from the West back. But the West book is saying we want to go back with no blame to no 53 countries in Africa.